king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love, yes, power. Yes. I am yes, I am love, wisdom, power. Yes, yes, I am love, wisdom, power. Master. Yes, I am. Yes, love, wisdom, power. Yes, I am. Say yes to yourself. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Master. I am. Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghair maghdubi alayhim. Wala dwalin. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Sonata Kamara, co-founder of Temple Mother Earth, sending love, peace, and abundance prayer to everyone around the world.
Peace, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Moorish Monday with Abdullah Talemosi Bey. I have a special guest. I've known this sister for about 15 years. And it's just, I'm excited to have her on this Moorish Monday platform. Her name is Abundance Child, and very dynamic sister, well-spoken, a dynamic speaker, very energetic, very industrious. She has a entrepreneurial energy and energy that also effectuates the radiates a lot of people in the various communities. So, sister, it's an honor to have you on this platform. You're muted.
It's an honor to be here. I used to I used to be like, I want to be like him.
Yeah, we go back. In fact, I remember being on your blog talk show in December of 2012. You had me on to do a Christmas presentation. It was through December 23rd or December 24th, 2012, because I usually do those things the day before, 2 days before Christmas. Mm-hmm. So that's why of course. So, and I actually remember the presentation where I was at the time. Wow. So welcome. We have a wonderful topic, the mothership. You know, that is one of my favorite topics, anything that deals with the feminine energy, the mothership. You know, those are my favorite topics there. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the topic.
I was born on this land. My parents were born on this land. Their parents were born on this land, and their parents were born on this land, and their parents were born on this land. I'm very, very proud of that. I did all of my genealogy research. I'm actually like that person in our family that not only is passionate about it, but it has now been passed that torch. Like I'm the one who inherits the furniture, the jewels, the information. So that's something that's, I think people that might not know should know about me. I love how you introduced me as an entrepreneurial spirit. That is also, I'm not first generation entrepreneur. My grandfather owned his own trucking business. My mom started Molly's Old Fashioned Ice Cream as a retirement project, and I purchased that from her to start Drop Squad Kitchen. But I did grow up in a 2-parent household, both parents making 6 figures, very corporate, I'm not like the first generation to go to college and things like that. I'm a descendant of the Chavez family, some of the largest landowners in this territory that actually fought in the American Revolution so that we could keep our land. So I went to school and studied history and communications at Clark Atlanta and Delaware State. And I feel like I've stayed in those lanes. Excuse me. But then my mom said, you always need to have a hustle. So I started cooking out of my house, and I didn't know it was going to turn into like a whole thing, that actually was going to be a gift for me for healing. So then I came up with the brand Drop Squad Kitchen, Unapologetically Healthy. Most of my ministry is with women and children and families. And the Moorish Divine Movement is something that actually really helped me put it all together and give me some perspective and how I needed to do that and structure that. It gave me the framework. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, one more thing. I'm initiated into African traditional religion called Ifa. I am initiated as, and I'm not completely trained in all of these areas, but I am an Ifa, and I'm an Egungun priestess, which means an ancestral priestess.
Tell us, go back to your days of the broadcasting, 2010, 2011, walk us back to that journey.
I started on Talk Shoe. I started on a weekly conference call with this brother named Neb from Collective Parliament. And before I met him, I had joined the Moorish Science Temple of America, but the national side of the movement really did something to me. Like I said, as a history political science major, and I was really like awestruck. And I'm somebody who reads and usually can retain the information, and I can comprehend as well. And that information, I just felt like the whole world needed to know. And I'm one of those people, like Aries and Venus type people that just literally go hard on anything that I love. And I went headfirst in there. I really was like, I don't want a driver's license. I don't want to do this. Everything that was issued by the state, I kind of was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be under our own vine and fig tree. And so I started a weekly conference call with the brother Ned from Collective Parliament. We went heavy on MySpace and creating a Ning and doing conference calls. And people loved my energy. They loved my voice, and anything I didn't have questions to, I'd have my papers, my Black Laws Dictionary, Zodiacus books, your books, like RV Bay publication books, all that stuff. I'd have it access to so that I could give answers that I didn't know. And I was good at that. Well, based on such and such, it says that, but TalkShoe wasn't working for me. And so I started creating flyers, and Facebook was happening by that time. And I started creating flyers with the flag and putting like the uniting of America and, trying to look pretty and, putting it out on the internet. And next thing you know, there will be 1,000, 2,000 people in my chat. I met Taj Tariq Bey at the library, and he was like, sister, you really have something there. And he invited me to come up to Harlem, which that expanded the reach for people to be able to see me. And I had really had something to focus on where like right now, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just know that I like being an element. Back then, I was focused specifically on the Moorish Divine and the national movement and trying to interview anybody that could give us information on how we could navigate. And also there was a spirit of At that time, I still feel like I feel it now. Everybody feels like they know everything. Everybody feels like they have the best way to do it. So my job at the time, which I thought was my job, which later became my job for the Moor Empire, was to bring everybody together. So during that time, we came up with the Summit of the Moors, and we were, I was just doing my best at the time until I just ran out of the energy. So that ran from like 2009 to about 2012.
Yeah, that was the time that I actually came on. Yes, you actually had two Facebook pages. You had Twitter. Remember, you had the Twitter. You had myself. You had Red Pill, Blue Pill
Yeah.
on your platform. I remember that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ra'aku.
yeah, yes. I think maybe Sabir may have been on your platform.
Never. Dr. Delbert Blair.
Dr. Deborah Blair. Yep, I remember has been on your platform.
Other
You
people I
had a
don't wish to bring up.
all right. Yeah, you had a host of us on your platform. So I just want to bear witness that what you were saying is actually true. You're trying to facilitate bringing the different bodies, politics, and organizations and different people together, to at least have a dialogue.
Yes.
So I definitely, I definitely appreciate that. That's why I wanted you to take a step back in the past, so people need to know that about you, because I know that about you. You know what I mean? Yes. So today's topic, for those who are just joining us, welcome. Those who are just joining us, this is Moorish Monday with Abdullah Il Talib Mosi Bey on magnets, crystals, pyramids. YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Let people know that we're live and direct with Abundance Child. All right. Please share it. Blow that horn. Blow the horn.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm excited. Once again, today's topic is the mothership. For throughout the next hour and 48 minutes, my website will be scrolling across the screen, moorsandmasonry.org. moorsandmasonry.org. Go to my website and get a copy of one of my books, or two or three of my books. All right. So, sister, we're going to delve right into the topic. The mothership.
Yes.
Why the topic, the mothership?
One of my favorite things that Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, and that stuck with me, and I just couldn't leave it alone. He said, "Y'all just plain rich." Then when I got initiated, my Odu really is like the Odu for wealth. And then my actual name, Tamiko, is a Japanese name that means abundance child. And I know that wealth is not just about finance. It's wealth of consanguinity. It's wealth of family, all of those types of things. But for me, it was a way for me to really tap into birthright inheritance. And how do we do that? Usually through our lineage. Who births the lineage? The mother. And I feel like in the home, we should be navigating that ship. And so that's how the mothership was born. And that is the way for me to have self-reparations. And it's an entity that I started, but I've offered it to other women in my organization, Order Mother Earth, that anything that you do in your home, which is your nation, which is your tribe, you should be able to do economics and commerce in the ways of the old. And that is your ship. That is how you're going to navigate on these lands. That is your private side. This is how you use your gifts. And that's what the mothership is. So when I closed out my front-facing public drop squad kitchen, I already had the mothership entity. I really said, this is the best way for me now that I'm married to be able to be at home, be with my children, be a grandmother, tend to the community, but still doing some functional things that I can help provide for my family. Not that I have to, but that's what I want to do. That's how I can share my gifts. So the mothership is the private facing entity that facilitates Drop Squad Kitchen, Ancestral Kitchen, Order Mother Earth, Girls Society, Unapologetically Healthy. That's where all of my brands fall underneath that jurisdiction.
Awesome. That is awesome. So now this with the mothership, and all of the connections you've had, and you had the restaurant for a minute,
Since
and
2012.
since 2012, since
Yes.
2012. Yes, I remember visiting you when your mother when it was the ice cream parlor,
Yep.
right after Obama got elected after his first term.
Yes.
Because I remember uh, that was the discussion there at the restaurant of, Obama being elected and quote unquote first black president,
Right.
misrepresentation. Yes. So with this journey, so with mothership, how do you see, expanding on what you just said about the mothership, how do you see it navigating it to the international arena?
We're already there.
You're
So
already there. So yes.
so if anybody wants to do business with me, they have to register via the mothership site. They don't have to be active on that site, but they have to put up a profile picture. So that way I know who I'm doing business with. I have a daughter that's like 35 weeks pregnant. This is very serious. The mothership, as I explained, is operating out of where I live. All right. So where I lay my head down. And I need to see what you look like before we doing any business, because we're also doing fair exchange. There are people around the world that have done things for me. For example, I need you to translate a verse of something for me so that I could share it with my school. I also have a school that we actually have a public facing part where we registered with the Department of Education, things like that. So I need that, but it's fair exchange because I might have did a flyer for you. So there's no fiat currency involved. Nobody can tax. It's not on y'all's records. It's on our records. I need to know who I'm doing business with. There have been, like I said, I've done some international things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've allowed other people to be able to set up their motherships so that they know how to operate in the private side or in the public side. It's whatever they're comfortable. Everybody's not at the same level.
Mm-hmm. Like you mentioned the connection of the title mothership and why the title mothership and its connection to consanguinity. Going to that connection of the mother and consanguinity, tie it to nationality and the birthright, as you alluded to.
Well, one of the things that I realize as far as the historicity of a lot of tribes, clans, nations, they're matrilineal, they're matrifocal, and they are also matriarchal, and not matriarchal in a sense where it comes with the negative connotation where you just imagine it's just women running things and we emasculate men. No, meaning like we follow the line of the woman's line. So, for example, when I don't already say change my name, when I corrected my status, we all corrected our status so that we can all, including my husband, so that we can all have that same line. And so going forward, it all follows like a matrilineal pattern. So as humans, we're all born through mothers, right? And we all have a gut. We all have a navel that continues to nourish us for the rest of our life. And that navel is connected to every navel before us. That is the philosophy in which that I teach my children, and that we all encompass divine masculine and divine feminine. Everything has duality. Everything has darkness. Everything has light. But that container that brings forth life into this existence in this realm is female naturally. And so therefore, we deal with those principles that have been passed on and that I use in my organizations like Order Mother Earth and Girl Society, we use those principles in order to set the foundation and the framework for which to teach government, law, and commerce. And the mothership is an example of that ship. It's a womb-like container that houses all of its children, another umbrella, a child of abundance. And so everybody doesn't have to do it the same way that I do. But now you can get into, well, where is your trust? Now you can get into, do you want to have an LLC? Do you want one that's domestic as it relates to the United States corporation? Or do you want one that's foreign as it relates to the United States corporation? You know, things like that. Did I answer your question?
Oh, yeah, yes, you did. Well, and you mentioned that everyone doesn't have to do it the way you do it, which is true. However, a lot of people don't have a blueprint. As you know, they don't have a blueprint. So that this is great because you actually are giving them a blueprint, you know, and that is very important, you know. So, you know, and if we tell somebody to do something, we need to have some type of blueprint, you know, that they can follow, some type of a curriculum type for, you know, a roadmap, you know. So lesson books, you know, institutions that actually benefit and will deal with the recovery of our lost Moorish sovereignty to reactivate our mother, you know, hence the mothership. Yes. So we have to bring our mother out of a coma, as our mother's been in a coma for over 200 years. And in international law, that is known as the temporary collapse, extinction, dismemberment, disintegration of a state. That's what is called in international law. So to the remedy to bring her out of the hospital or long state of a coma is called the recovery of lost sovereignty. And so that I am glad that you have taken on the mantle, you know. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You were someone going back to 2011 or 10, and then you were someone that I really admired because, you know, you being well spoken, you know, intelligent, and seeing that energy and one thing that I really admire was your large outreach. And I said, man, Abundance, man, she's doing it, man. She got it. No, because I'm serious. She had 2 Facebook pages. She had 5,000 each, you know, and she had a Twitter, and I said red pill and blue pill, you know, were actually had I don't know, they began on her platform, but they did that, but they began on her platform, right? Everybody knows the red pill and blue pill, know the ledge, all right? So that's what I'm saying. So she had influenced a lot of people, you know, and that was one of the things that I really admired about her, you know, Abundance Child. So I'm just, for those who are listening, so those people who don't know you, let's say I've known you for almost 15 years.
It's true, yeah.
And just to see you coming, you know, and you know, she's just coming back and like as if she never missed a beat. No, because I've been following you since you no longer at the restaurant now. I've been following you, and you've been with what's the name, Grand Sheik Howard, Governor Howard, and you've been on the platforms. And I said, oh yeah, she it's as if she never missed a beat, you know. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So this is from my vantage point, you know, of having known her for 15 years and observing that, you know. So speak to that, Abundance.
Speak to which point?
With where you envision the mothership, where you envision the outreach. What are your plans? Because like I said, you had a tremendous outreach back in 2011 and 12, right? And so
I'm
where do
really
you
proud of
envision?
myself. So when we started the mothership, and I've always had the mothership. I just want to say that
Yes.
Facebook page has existed. I'm somebody that every time I come up with an idea, I want to be the first person in commerce. So I create the Facebook page, I get the domain. You know what I mean? So the mothership page has been existing. And in fact, from the time that you know me, that's how long that page has been up. I don't know if you remember, I used to sell Shea Butters, Love, Truth, Peace, Freedom, and Justice.
I remember that.
King Simon events and at
Yep.
all
Yep. That King Simon. Yep. Yep. Yep.
so that's how long that page has been up. And I've been running the Girl Society since who was it? Queen Afua and
Yep. Yep.
Dr.
Yep.
Davis introduced it to the world and said, yeah, y'all need to listen to a butter child because she got a plan. So that's how long the mothership has been up there.
That's
and I
true.
created a space so I can start teaching, especially women, how to stop having your children in foreign ports and hospitals and as hospices and selling all of their goods and all the information to these foreign entities and start having faith and trust in our Aboriginal indigenous process and having our babies at home and how to do our own paperwork. Even if you go and get a birth certificate or social, can we please have something that represents us? That represents your clan, that represents your family, that represents your nation, that represents your government. And if you're saying you don't have one, it's because you didn't say that you had one. The only reason we have all of those other entities, forget the words that, my language isn't the same.
Subjugation instruments.
Since instruments I was looking for is because we don't have our own. So I'm proud to say that we have about 300 members now, and we literally just started the mothership around November. And people are slowly and surely, like I said, I'm not asking anybody to be active on there, but if you want to do business with me, I don't care if you're going to be doing something at the Clifford Brown Festival, that lady knows with her entity that she needs to be on that mothership. So now I use that, and then my husband, he has classes. So he teaches vocal attunization classes, alignment classes. We have my daughter. Everybody in this house has something that they sell or that they do. So that allows people to be in contact with us. But now I created something that is public facing that has partnered with the mothership, and that's called Drop Squad Institute. So this is really the answer. Drop Squad Institute is like your holistic Job Corps. Drop Squad Kitchen has now become a program like the Girl Scout cookie program for Drop Squad Institute, which acts like the Girl Scouts of the USA. And the only reason I'm saying that is because I used to work for Girl Scouts of the Chesapeake Bay. I handled Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, doing outreach and making sure that there was Girl Scouting in the schools. So I had to be astute in that Girl Scout cookie program because Girl Scouting in the schools were people who looked like us. Because in this state where Delaware does business, people who look like us are not doing Girl Scouts. They are not, for the most part, they're not going to be troop mothers. So I had to go and create programs for Girl Scouting in the schools. I had to write I had to write grants for programs, federal programs for things like Girl Scouts Beyond Bars, where we went into the prison systems and I designed programs for mothers and children. And I'm like, I got up out of there and I was like, listen, I'm not giving them any more information because you have to sign NDAs and things like that. I can do this and I can teach women like the real stuff. So with that said, Drop Squad Institute falls under ICON, Intercontinental Church of Nature, which falls underneath the umbrella of Abundance Child Ministries, because this is what I'm put here to do, and that is to teach. So now the Drop Squad Kitchen program, people come in and they learn how to do plant-based holistic food and things like that. And then we also teach spiritual things. We teach astrology, we teach numerology, and I deal with the people. We teach etymology. So who are we calling on to teach those classes? You on Drop Squad Institute should have a class that people can follow along on their own. And we will charge a certain amount per the tuition. Let's say the tuition is $10. Of course, it would be more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And your course is $1. Every time somebody gets that course, then you'll get 60%. No, you get 40%.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we do, we divine on. We use the oracle system. Why? I mean, Ianifa, why not? We teach ancestral spiritual sciences and things like that. But the main thing is the thing that worked for me, which was being in the heart of the home, which is the kitchen, where I learned most of the lessons from my mom was the kitchen. So that's how I'm going to be teaching people. There are so many things that you can learn in that kitchen. Not only at the kitchen, you got to know food costs. Now we're talking about math. In this day and age, you have to be able to do social media. We need a content manager. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is a holistic job core. You have to be able to know how to use your voice and do presentations. My husband will do that. You will have to know how to code. My daughter, a software engineer, can do that. You need to understand how to move your mind. My other daughter, who's our chief manifestor in our organization, teaches people how to get out of the 3D and stay in the heaven of their mind and make everything that you want to happen. She does that. My godson, he does, what does he do? Another engineer, with sound engineer. We have everything that you could possibly need to run a nation, which is running a household and running a business. And we give the opportunity, once you go through this institution with us, we certify you. Once you have the certification, you can be licensed to do your own Drop Squad kitchen as a food truck, as a catering, however you want to. And I felt like, it wasn't that I felt like, because I got this lesson later. I learned later through a lot of self-observation, through prayer, through meditation, that Drop Squad Kitchen cannot just be local. This is an international, global thing. What I have to bring to the world cannot just be stuck up in the riverfront, just because that's what everybody thinks that I should have, and they don't understand what I'm doing now. This is where I can reach more people. Get back on your mic. Use the gift of your voice, that ashe that you have, and start teaching people. Just give them a little bit, have them sign up to the mothership. Sister, give me all your burdens. I am this type of person. I can help you. Every Sunday, one Sunday of the month, we hold space for sisters. 1 quarter of the year, 4 quarters of the year, we hold space for the brothers. The same thing that we do for the sisters, until I have somebody who's taking over that, we do it once a quarter for the brothers. And within that, that's where all my curriculum is published. People, how come you never publish a recipe book? I have. It's for people to learn Drop Squad Kitchen. Every single one of my recipes, in order to do food costs, you have to do a recipe. So I have those. The difference between me is all of my things are private facing. They are for my community and my community only.
Mm-hmm.
They are not just for the world to take and steal and use it and misinterpret it. Right now, until my daughters decide to do something else, I've written so many books. For example, every single Sunday, these girls get a workbook, because I told you I'm running it kind of like Girl Scouts. They get guidebooks. They get homework. We call them game work, godly ability to master everything books. Everything is included in that package. They actually get my writing. Every month, somebody gets a publication from me, and it expressly states that it is for the mothership only. Please do not put it on Facebook. This is for us. These are people who are committed to community. You want records of live births, records of Aboriginal, all of the stuff that I do. I don't want to get into all of that, but all of the stuff that I do, like what my children will have, naming ceremonies, doing a divination for who the child is and what its purpose is for coming to earth, doing the, I just got the ink so I could do his little feet and create our own, birth records and things like that. All of that is published, but it is for our community. We're not about trying to make the fiat currency. We're about really getting our own 40 acres and a fleet of cars and doing what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, on. Well, as far as I definitely knew that about you as far as the outreach, and so that's definitely the innovation and the organizational skills that you have. So I want the audiences, is learning about who you are. Those who don't know who you are already, quite a few people know who you are, and those who do not. So because you got people, who are new to the Moorish consciousness,
Oh yeah,
And,
that's
yeah.
true.
So yeah, because
I just believe
there's
people
been.
page be trying to tell me something, and I'd be like, okay, black sister. I'm like, I know, I'm just really speaking to the general public right now,
Which we have to always do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, definitely. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Continuing with the today's theme, the mothership, and tying into continue to tie it to birthright. Go into, you mentioned about 10 minutes ago the matriarchal, the matrilineal, matrifocal. Uh, are you aware of the Haudenosaunee Constitution, the Iroquois Constitution, and Article 50 to I think 45 to 55, where it has the articles dealing with the matrilineal, that preserves the matrilineal system?
I've used all of that. Remember,
Yes.
I homeschooled my children using all of those publications and
Hmm.
everything I received from Taj, everything I received from Ross Mariah, everything I received from a Meximore Empire. Like that was heavy coming into the Meximore Empire, everything that we had to do. You know what I mean? I use all of that, copy and pasted. I use stuff from Nation of Islam even. I know that sounds crazy, but I literally use their curriculum for the Girls Society, even like how to
Hmm.
clean houses and stuff. Like, of course, I made it
Yes.
my own, but there's so much stuff that our ancestors have already given us, even ancestors that are not from our direct lineage. I'm talking about all these different organizations from the UNIA, Nation of Islam. There's so much information out there, like we really don't need for anything. So that's what I've done. I have all of those constitutions. We have them all in one place. Everything's in one place, even with the children, like teaching them our own, 101s and things like that. I just got called on Sunday to teach Sunday school for Moorish Science Temple of America number 14. Like, sis, can you please, do that? Like, it's still very important. Now, I've changed up some of the things. I've added my own stuff, but basic stuff that we need to know that I did not get until I was like 28 years old. So yes, I am familiar with those things, and I put all of those things together. And when people come into our organizations, they see that we have Constitution. That's why what did I just put out recently? Oh, I made some ancestral money for the Beyond Juneteenth Festival, so that when we do our collective offering, I made our own ancestral money. I'm like, why do I keep buying Joss paper from off Amazon? I can make our own with my own images on there. And it says United Dominions of Amexem, which is another body politic that I didn't. I was like, I have too many. He's going to be like, what is she doing? The United Dominions of Amexem, which I came up with in like 2010, maybe, working with some Moors. So I'm still rolling with that constitution.
All right. I told you she's been around for a while, y'all. And we go about 15 years. So she's been around for a while. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. So you were in the Wilmington area.
Yeah,
In
where
fact,
the
I was
city of
supposed to be.
Wilmington does business for sure.
Yes, yes. In fact, brother, the Sheikah Howard called me a couple weeks back, 4 weeks ago, and I was supposed to be coming out that way too because they want me to do it on site. So I have to be had some incidents that occurred. I have to reschedule that. So I'll let you know.
I was in the building when you called that day. Like we had just finished and you had called.
Are you in the building? All right, yeah, yes. That was about 2 weeks ago when I called him. Right, yeah. Yeah, so I have to reschedule that. Just going through some reorganization.
I can't wait for that interview. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, so I'll definitely let you know once I reschedule because they want me to come out that way, and definitely we can link up. You and your husband, myself, we can link up. I can come ahead of time. So I think it's something about 7 o'clock. They actually start the live broadcast.
Mhm.
But I'll let you know when I'll reschedule that. Like I might give him a call tomorrow. And so definitely, I've been on this platform for a year and a half. In fact, Brother Hank reached out to me in November 2023. The brother who had done Moorish Monday before me had transitioned. So
Oh.
Hank reached out to me to see if I wanted to take over the Moorish Monday.
I
So
literally just put 2 and 2 together. I was trying to figure out. I was just like, I can't imagine you doing a broadcast about magnets, crystals, and pyramids. And I just realized you're talking about Hank Rising Sun.
Hank Rises,
That's
yes,
so,
yes,
like,
absolutely.
in that way too. I was just like, I don't even get this, but hey, I'll do it.
Yes, so this is the Moorish Monday on his Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids. Yes.
Love it.
And I've
Oh,
been doing this since the first Monday in December 2023. And I've had I've had 30, almost 30 guest speakers. And that will be actually on my Facebook page. All my speakers that I've had on Moorish Monday will be on my Facebook page. We have our brother Israel's actually putting together a 2-page flyer that I can actually show all my, of course, you're going to be on there, all my guest speakers. And I got another guest speaker next week. We'll be doing a book review on my Masonic Compton Square book. Dr. Powington will be my guest next week. He'll be doing a book review on my Masonic Compton Square and the Connection to Measurement and Timekeeping book.
yeah.
And then after that, I don't know if Vicarious Ill, he'll be doing a book review on my Howard Venus and which book you have, my Venus and Moon Rule book. That'll be on the 23rd.
I have a lot of your stuff. I kept every one of your publications, the papers.
Yeah, because I've been writing for a long time.
You used to sell them in Drop Squad.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Even my older stuff.
Yeah, and I had all of those books in Drop Squad. I'm a bibliophile and I'm a collector. So whether you guys know it or not, I go and get the books.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Yes, she should.
And we use
Definitely
this.
says.
And I don't know, a lot of people don't know that, I went into Ancient Rite of Memphis and Miss Rame in 2010. I was part of Lodge #1 in Syracuse, New York.
Is that brother
Khalid Bey?
I don't know him. I know Sharif.
Sharif, yeah. All of
Sharif.
them.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Sharif. I've known Sharif since 1997. 1997. Yes.
So yeah, I've always been interested in those books because it's just in my lineage. I got an Order of Eastern Star scholarship to college. My grandfather was a Mason, so that always interesting. Next thing you know, I was getting my degrees.
Awesome. So this is wonderful. Because I was excited today because I wanted people to know who you are, and so they can reach out to you. Let us know how we can contact you. How can people find you?
Well, abundancechild.com, there's a contact form on there. It's called Ask Abundance. So go to abundancechild.com and go to Ask Abundance. I am on everything: Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Substack. I just started a subscription base on Substack where some of my stuff, like my blueprints, I'll be posting the stuff that I feel like everybody should have. That stuff, I'm going to make a small subscription base. Well, I already started it. That's on Substack, but it's all reachable through abundancechild.com. When you hit blog, it'll go to my Substack. If you go to abundancechild.com and you click the menu item that says Ask Abundance, it's just a form. It's like, tell me what's up. So I can contact people that way. Or, of course, 302-824-0110 is my public number. I mean, that's not the right number. Excuse me. I'm tripping.
So let's give another number.
No, I forgot. That's my husband's number.
All
That was
right.
the old numbers, which is deep. It's now my husband's number. So you call that if you want to. And
All
as
right.
you experience, he'll answer. Hold on, I'm getting ready to find my public number. I think it's 302-275-2833, but I think I'm
Yeah. So
numbers.
yeah, reach out to her, y'all. She reach out. So she has a lot to offer.
Okay, I found it. It is 302-257-2833.
Say it again. Slower. Can your husband put it in the chat? I'm not that. I saw. I know you put in the chat now. All right, put it in the chat. I know that he's on because I saw Abundance Child come up, and I was gonna say, well, that's your husband.
No, that's me. I said peace to the family.
Oh, you did that. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came up on the screen. Yes.
I am on my phone. I sent it.
Oh, he's on the phone. He didn't leave a comment. Leave a comment. You'll see him. He's John Carr.
All right, yeah, leave a comment. Yeah, because I saw comments were popping up. He had quite a few, about 10 in a row. That was popping up on across the screen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was me.
all right, good. I don't know if tell you what, let's do this because you'll be able to see the questions. I'll be able to see the questions too. Go to the chat. Anybody have any questions? Type your questions in. Type your questions in the chat.
Oh, please share importance of ancestor money.
All right, go ahead. That's a question. All right, so there you go.
So it's not necessarily known to be a tradition. You know, they don't give Africans credit for it, but I'm like, come on, anyway. So as above, so below. A lot of people don't understand that when you leave this realm, that you're literally leaving like the virtual reality. Like when you wake up, a lot of people are surprised to find out like it's more real than what this is, right? You just have a different level of wisdom. You don't necessarily have this body. So when we leave here, we still have debts because everybody who is here basically based off of karma or because they came here to observe or they came here to teach. But most people here based off of karma because something you did yesterday, like literally yesterday. People think that yesterday is like 1,000 years ago. My past lifetime. No, your past lifetime was when you went to sleep last night. Anything from that point. So we have debts. We can have spiritual debts. We can have mental debts, physical debts. So we want to make sure we use that ancestor money to make sure that any debts that were left to us in this realm, in this dimension, because they're all existing, the past, present, and future are existing simultaneously. We want to make sure that our ancestors have everything that they need. So one of the ways that we can do that, some people use blood, you know, they use that as a form of currency and energy. One of the ways that we could do that is by burning ancestor money and letting that energy that, you know, are our intentions go into the ethereal realms, and then they receive that with our word sound power, Ashe, our Aj, that thing that we have, especially women that make the worlds and the universe go round. So ancestor money is one of those things. Also, you're writing things down, you're burning it, you're using the fire, using the elements. You can bury it. You can do divination to find out, do I need to bury it? Do I need to put it in some milk and pour it over me after I prayed to the milk for, you know, for all the mothers and things like that? It's just so much stuff that you could do with it, using the ash to bring forth prosperity in this realm, but to make sure that the energy from burning that paper reaches the ancestral realm, which is the realm from the beyond, which we came from, that we can't see. However, that realm, they say, is as thin as a fly's wing. That's how thin it is. Like, you don't know that there's angels amongst us. There's spirits that we can't see, that sometimes we can feel, sometimes that we can hear, but we might not be able to see and touch. So you want to make sure you have good intention to make sure, so we don't keep having to repeat these generational assignments. So that also goes for every single thing. Do you know, I noticed in my family, I'm like, man, why does this molestation thing keep happening? When is it going to stop? It's once you start realizing the generational assignment. When is it that we're going to stop doing this thing of having children out of wedlock? Not trying to be on like the patriarchal Western version, but I mean, we should all know very well by now, it's better for a child to be raised with both parents, right? When are we going to stop that? Even as a spiritual Egbe and ethnic group, when are we going to stop doing the things that so-called people who are misnomered African American, Black, Negro, and colored, right? When are we going to stop doing those types of things? When are we going to stop not having a pot to piss in? When are we going to stop not having our own body politic? When are we going to stop not having our own institutions in our own freaking neighborhoods and stop complaining about it? These are ancestral assignments. And maybe because we're running behind everybody else trying to do even like the concept, I read a lot of Mama Zagbe, and she talks about how Islam started with, the women, and that was a whole another Islam before the Islam that we know today of like the Arabs and stuff, right? That blew my mind when I learned that like 10 years ago. I was like, what? It made me even more proud. And my Odu Ifa that I was initiated into is when Islam started in this world. I'm like, okay, now it makes sense, So if we don't have schools and things like that where we can teach these children other perspectives or other things that we didn't learn, we're going to continue to have these same assignments until we get it right. Where other people have gotten their assignments, they're the last folks to come to this earth, but yet purport to be the sovereign power because it seems like they have money when it's a whole lot of debt. But if the whole world doesn't know that it's debt and our people don't know that it's debt, then they seem like they have some type of power, right? So that's why we burn. That's the long answer to why you want to burn ancestral money and have ancestral, veneration, not worshiping ancestors.
Good. Excellent point. Excellent point. Good. Any other type your questions in? Questions or comments? Type your questions in. Send your questions to dear old Captain Noah. I watched that growing up before school. That came on about 7 o'clock in the morning when I was about, I think, 4 or 5 years old.
Do you remember the Electric Factory that came on right before Sesame Street?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. So that type your questions or comments in. Why is it important to make your own ancestral money? This is Brother Hank. Brother Hank is asking, why is it important to make your own ancestral money?
I didn't know it was important to make your own ancestral money. That just came up to me when I was getting ready to go on Amazon for my festival and buy some ancestral money. I said, this is dumb. I make all my own flyers, my own labels, my own everything. I think that I'm going to show my ancestors how serious I am about having my own body politic, about having the bank of abundance, what I'm already doing right now, and show them like, listen, I got my assignment. We're rich based off of me doing these things that I downloaded from you that I'm able to do because you had your own trucking company. And my grandmother worked for all these rich people and cleaned their houses and things like that. And we're able to leave my mom like $35,000, each of her children, 6 children, right? That was a lot for a maid. That means she understood commerce. She understood finance. And I'm a beneficiary of that. So I have all of that DNA and all of that in me. I figured that I wanted to make my own ancestral money to let them know I got it. I don't need no debt, no fine. I don't need to burn United States fake Federal Reserve notes on Joss money and send it to the Jade Emperor. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to send it to y'all, directly to you, because I recognize who I am as a high holy representative of my ancestors, of God, of Olodumare, of Allah, period. I am a high holy representation. I know by my thumbprint, I know by my eyes, because our eyes, nobody has the same eyes, that there is no other being like me, the same as you and the same as everybody else on this call, and that I have this belly button and that I came here to be in this physical body to accomplish something. And one of the things that my legacy is going to be like, she did it. Her community, she has a large community, maybe the size of a state, and they they work with Ghana, they work with Benin, they work with Peru. They're recognized, you know what I mean? And how we recognize, because we do business. We do business with each other, and it all started with the mothership.
I love it. I love it. This is and it's just abundance child. This is wonderful to have you who's been around for 17 years. You know, so so to have women's feel your energy, and this is why I was excited to have you on the platform because so I can have that so the sisters can feel your energy, and they need that. They need, you know, in this Moorish movement. I've heard for over 30 years. Over 30 years, I've heard so many times for over 30 years. Where the sisters at?
Right.
Where the sisters at? And all the meetings I've been in, all the classes, and every venue, and every conscious more venue I've been in 33 years, it's mostly brothers. So, and I said that the only way that's going to change is we need sisters like you to step to the forefront. Don't ask the brothers permission. Don't ask the brothers permission. Do it. Do the step to the forefront for these sisters, for sisters. Don't look to the brothers. Step to the forefront. And that has not happened in this Moorish movement. And you can constantly see brothers, people have seen my face for over 30 years. They've seen others. But just to have, so I'm excited, sister, that you're back out, in full effect. I really am. It's needed. It is needed to have a strong sister, who's been in this Moorish movement for quite some time. They can feel your energy, and then the fact that you are intelligent, well spoken. You have you got great organizational skills. That is needed. Organizational skills is needed. Let me say this. There are people who have when you can have a lot of viewers on particular platforms, so forth. But how do we take the subscribers and viewers and organize them into government structure?
I think it's not, well, one, you have to have patience. Patience is the father of all character. That's one of the things that we don't invoke as one of our superpowers. And I'm one of those people too. Like I said, when I started that many years ago, I immediately got put on a platform that already had a following. So I started out Ask Abundance Live with Ras Mariah, Taj Tariq Bey, and Dr. Ali Muhammad. Like, okay, of course people were going to be listening to me. And when people got tired of them fighting and I got tired of everybody arguing and being loud with each other, those people still wanted to hear what I have to say. There was 450,000 followers I had from that Blog Talk channel. So for me to have gotten rid of that and just stopped and started a whole new thing, they're like, wait, she could cook? Like, they weren't used to that. It took patience. Next thing you know, Drop Squad Kitchen, I'm known more now for Drop Squad Kitchen than I am Abundance Child Live. A lot of people don't even know I exist. They're like, oh, we don't want to hear anything that she has to say. I did amazing things like Emancipator magazine. I published 2 magazines that I used to publish at Abundance Child, at Drop Squad Kitchen. Physical magazines called Emancipator magazine, which was only about how we existed on this land prior to Columbus and all the proof. That's what that magazine was for. And I would post like unapologetically healthy recipes in there. So I would say patience is the first thing that's needed. Also, having a complete understanding of what people would call, well, what we say is Ori and Ifa. It's your God mind, your government ordinance department, God, the God in you. That thing that has the jurisdiction over your past, your present, and your future. The thing that knows your past, your present, and the future. The thing that knows your contract for being here and every contract consequently thereafter. If you don't have a relationship with that, then that means you'll be following behind somebody else's destiny, which means that it will be passed down to the children that you create. And now they will have to pick up where you didn't do. That's what we all are doing. That's why we are born and we have spiritual families and societies. There's a reason why for 15 years, you are a part of my spiritual family. We've already had these conversations. We've already done this. This was already written when I first saw you, and it was like, how does he know language like this? Like, oh my God, I got to figure out how to do this stuff. How do I be like him? Like, it was just, I was very, like I said, wow factored by the minds that were in that movement, not knowing that I was in alignment. So we need to be in alignment with our godly ability to master everything. That's game. If you don't do that, you're going to spend too many years trying to do something to monetize, like get numbers to monetize, right? It's very important that we do monetize, but it's more important that we use our platforms to organize. Like I said, our platforms, this right here should be more of a trailer, right? It should be more of a trailer. It should be more of a trailer, and then we should be having conversations offside of this. How come you and all the other brothers that are saying, where are the sisters? Where are the sisters? Think of 5 sisters right now that you'd be like, should be in touch and figure out how do we roll this out as a platform to women? Well, Abundance is good with the food. Let's just say I'm not the best with the information. My language is not as good as it used to be. Abundance can definitely teach the women how to cook. This one can teach the women how to grow the food. This one can teach numerology. This one can teach astrology. This one, certain things like that. That's to me what we should be using these platforms. The whole world is watching us on YouTube right now, and we're just divulging information. But behind the scenes, what happens after I close this laptop? Will anybody call me and say, no, sister, I really want to join the mothership, and I really want to see how we can roll this platform out nationally and have patience? Listen, it might not be able to do a summit of the Moors or something like that, or summit of indigenous people, whatever we want to call it. Let's stop trying to do it tomorrow. Let's say we've set a date for 5 years from now. That's what other people who are in power do, but we want to do things so fast. I think patience is the father of all character. And at the end of the day, our character is the only thing that can save us. Nobody's going to care how many numbers you have. Nobody's going to care how many verses you can spit of the Holy Quran. It's what did you do? And did you fulfill your assignment while you were here?
Hank is asking, you see on the screen, how can indigenous women break the poverty spell?
By not assimilating into the systems that were built to erase them. You got to give up the 9 to 5. Our bodies, our spirits on this realm are not supposed to be working on a 9 to 5 cycle when we work on a 28-day cycle. We're different. We're built differently. We got to stop assimilating and feeling like the only way to success is to be working for somebody else's family where you only get rations. I know. I'm sorry. You make $600,000 a year. That's nothing compared to that company that's paying you. You can make $600,000 a year on your own. So we got to remember that not only do we stop birthing our children into their system so that they can use those records, those birth certificates and stuff like that, and those instruments to make money off of us, because we're still working in that bondage capacity and continuing to make debt by birthing our children into their hospitals and getting birth certificates and social securities and driver's license and marriage licenses and all these things that say that we're doing things illegally, you know what I mean? Just by getting those licenses. Why don't we not only birth in our own lands and homes and things like that, but also bury in our own homes and lands? So from the birth to the burial, you really had to go get a death certificate? You know what I mean? Like, are you serious?
Great points. So, those are areas that we have to, to address the subjugation. Yeah, we have to address the subjugation. United States has taken over from France United States is not a conqueror. United States did not conquer. France conquered.
Yeah,
Great
United
Britain
States
conquered.
restitution. Come on,
Yeah,
like
France conquered, and
yeah,
Great Britain conquered, and Spain conquered. France took over through. No, I'm sorry. The United States took over through treaties with the conquering European powers. So, in the United States taking over through treaties, United States gained territorial sovereignty from France and Spain and Great Britain, United States and Mexico, and then and one of the elements of the territorial sovereignty, they also gained control over the inhabitants. So we have to address the United States territorial sovereignty claim, and that is through our unity. So that would be and recovering our lost Moorish sovereignty. The Native people of Hawaii have to do the same thing. Now, United States subjugated Hawaii. Now, the United States subjugated the Kingdom of Hawaii,
yes,
and forced the Native people of Hawaii into their legal system, and that is known in international law as the acquisition of nationality through subjugation. And in 1990, through United States legislation, that was done there. So, but the United States first subjugated and later annexed Hawaii. And by subjugating Hawaii, they now have claimed a new title over the Kingdom of Hawaii. So I'm just talking international law.
yes.
This is not United States Constitution. This is international law. So we have to address our condition in the framework, not in United States Constitution. We don't address our condition in United States laws and United States Constitution and United States statutes and state statutes. Why? Because we are a people of a foreign state. We are people of a foreign state. The Native people of Hawaii cannot address their conditions in the framework of the United States Constitution. They have to address their condition in the framework of international law, that is subjugation. They start there. They don't start with the United States Constitution. The Native people of Hawaii do not start with the United States Constitution. They start with their mother. They start with their mother.
Thank you.
She is the last standing sovereign. They can point today. They can point to 1893. The Native people of Hawaii, they're people like this. There's Abdullah Bays over there. The Abdullah Bays and the Native people in the Kingdom of Hawaii. The Abdullah Bays over there. When I mean by Abdullah Bays, that are working to recover the lost sovereignty. So they address their condition by pointing to their mother. The United States, this is what you did to our mother. You put our mother on the house arrest, United States. She did not sign anything. So they start there. The fact that she didn't sign anything, that was called in international law subjugation. They make their argument from that point. That is the application of law that they will use to address their condition, not United States Constitution, not United States statutes. Why? Because the Native people are a foreign state. They belong to the Kingdom of Hawaii. So I'm using the Native people, I'm paralleling the Native people of Hawaii, using Hawaii to teach what we have to do. We've been conditioned, and I taught for 25 years, 27 years. The misconception, I taught for 27 years, thousands of people, the misconception to address our condition in the United States Constitution. That is an error. Why? Because we are a people that belong to a foreign power. We have to, so there's been misconceptions and we have to clear that off. So I just wanted to take that time.
Power. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm like, there's so much that, we can unravel with the foreign power, even like the foreign power of there in God we trust. You know what I mean? That's foreign to us. I think there was another question.
You see the question? Or type type your questions in, comments.
What was it?
How can someone connect to form a Girl Scout chapter in Texas?
Girls Society.
What's the question, Abundance?
Oh, how can someone connect to form? It says Girl Scouts, but Girls Society
Right.
chapter in Texas. And I was trying to see if I had the link, but I don't. Same way, you just want to contact me so we can get online and you can apply. It's the same thing as Girl Scouts of the Girl Scouts. It's Girl Scouts of the USA, and they have chapters all throughout the United States in various different states. Have charters. So what you want to be able to get is a charter from the Girls Society headquarters, which is Girls Society of America. And I went with that instead of a Mexican, so people aren't like, oh, what is, So on Instagram, we're Girls Society of America.
I think you just you put your number in the chat already, right?
Yes.
So her number's in the chat, everyone. You can reach her through the number and that she put in the chat.
257. 2833. I'm putting it in the chat.
All right, she's putting in the chat again.
So basically, you're going to fill out an intention, not an application. I don't redo applications because we don't distribute Girl Society chapters like a franchise. We recognize them. And we receive spiritual confirmation, want to know if this person is worthy and well qualified to be working with girls. You have to receive training because through Order Mother Earth, because that's how Order Mother Earth started. I actually started Girl Society first. And when I realized after doing it at Nicholas Brooklyn, that's where we had the opening ceremony for it, the whole world contacted me. And I said, this is crazy. I don't know these women. How do I know if they're able to be working with children? So my husband and I were talking about, like, we need to see two parents. We need to see, even if you don't have two parents, we need to see that there's going to be men in your house that are upstanding. Does that make sense?
Yes. Now you have situations, Abundance, where there's aren't any men in the house. So
right.
yeah,
I was one of them, but I think you have. I want to be able to see that didn't come out right. Family and community. So, for example, somebody was saying that, like, they don't do well in relationships with men, and I'm like, man, I'll speak for myself. I grew up with two brothers. I probably never had. I can't even count on this many fingers how many times we've raised our voice or had an argument. I don't argue with my husband. You know what I mean? Like, I still have great relationships with Red Pill, Blue Pill, King Simon, all the brothers that were in the Moorish Divine and National Movement. I have great relationships with them. That doesn't mean I might have a great romantic relationships, but I have great relationships with men. They need to be able to prove that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I just
we teach balancement with these young girls. A lot of our young girls, the reason why they have a lot of issues is because they're missing the fathers. We have encyclopedias on our mothers, but we have pamphlets when it comes to the fathers.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a slew of people, but how are we going to be talking? How are you going to feel like when you have a John Carr coming in doing JC alignment? How are you going to feel when we have a brother Abdullah El Talib Mosi Bey teaching something on etymology? We're using any of his books. How are you going to teach these girls how to interact when somebody says, no, close your legs, don't do stuff like that? And they're not, you ain't my father. These are the things that we're preparing for. We got to start there because that's where we are as the people. We're not in the 1950s where most of us wore dresses and we knew how to respect our elders. And it was, we're just not there anymore. There's so much access these children are getting to online and stuff like that. So it's my job as the mother of the organization. I am the grandmother of the organization, the founder. to make sure that the women that we are working with understand that men are our partners. You can't have divine feminine without divine masculine without divine feminine. So even though we are Order Mother Earth and Girl Society, Order Mother Earth, a woman who are the primordial mothers, and for example, Iyami Ajay, the Iyami are not just women, because we birth men too. So Shango, he learned from the witches. Those were the mothers. That's how he got his power. That's how he learned his power. His best friend, the person he rolls with, is Oya. We see what she just did in Missouri. That's some power. That's mother power. But we need the light. We need the positive. That's the brothers. So we got to learn how these forces operate in nature. You know, women were receivers, and we got to be able to, how do you teach young girls, and how do you teach young girls and Girl Society about what's happening to their bodies and why they're getting cycles and how they're preparing to be able to birth new, civilizations into existence without including the men. So it is Girl Society, but we do a lot of work with the brothers. That's something that I had to evolve to.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Type your questions in. This is very good, very insightful, which I'm not surprised. And so this, if you got any other got questions or comments, type in the chat. Type your questions in the chat. Don't forget to hit the like button. Hit that like button. We can get the algorithms up. Hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Let people know that we're on. And share this. And when it's over, also just share it. Let people know that this, share it. Let them know that you learned something tonight. You know what I mean? That you've been inspired. Sister Abundance Shaw has put her number in the chat.
One way that you can also meet me personally is I do a lot of events. So, for example, at Moore's Culture Center on King Street in Wilmington, Delaware, I'm doing mommy's tables for the women and for the children. I'm teaching women how to make meat, how to make fresh pressed juice, and how to use the pulp from that fresh pressed juice to make a salad dressing, and then also to use that same thing to make a nice, vegan, gluten-free dessert. Everything is going to be vegan and gluten-free, and it's only $30, and it's only $3 for the children. I do so much stuff for the community now that I don't have a physical brick and mortar in the riverfront. So that is another way. For the public, I usually charge $100 for my cooking class. I don't care if you're a child or not. I know what my value is, so I charge $100 US. But this class is really for the community. It's really for the sisters and the children. It's only $30. So if y'all can get to the Wilmington area, make it a day and come out and hear some of these things I'm talking about as I'm cooking, and Spirit is I'm downloading things and working with water because I'm a water child. So working with food gives me so much power. That's one way. Beyond Juneteenth is June 19th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Delaware Art Museum. From 4 to 6 is a community ancestral offering where we're going to have the ancestral money, where we're going to have the ancestral setup. We're going to actually have the masquerade. My ancestor is actually going to be on ground, and looking and seeing what's going around. And because it was, ordained for me I have to have an ancestral ceremony on ground in Delaware to be making sure I take care of all the ancestors here, not just my ancestors, period. Because wherever I'm at, it got to be clean. It's got to be in alignment. So this is what I have to do every year. So this is my 6th annual Beyond Juneteenth Ancestral Festival. And, we've got my husband, John Carr, and the virtual soul band, Pieces of a Dream dance company is going to be performing. We have a storyteller, Sister Tahira, featuring Darnell Miller, is going to be performing. And we have Papa Denbei, world-renowned drummer, on the drums. It's going to be a great day. It's free. The food is going to be by Drop Squad Kitchen. It's plant-based. you have to pay for that. I'm vending at my own festival, but that's the way for me to get this money back so that you guys have a free festival. And trust me, all my artists are paid, so this festival is, it's called Beyond Juneteenth because we want to teach the people that we were not free to know 1863 to 1865. We were actually, let's say we were repositioned. We were already here. All this type of stuff is beyond Juneteenth. That's why it's called Beyond Juneteenth. All right. And that our labor to this day has never been returned to us, that our names, our lands, our languages, our cosmology still remain under occupation. And that's way to get out of this spell. This is why the mother has to return to her space. We're moving out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, the humanitarian age, the age where, women birth humanity. This is our time to get back, and we're coming out of that contract. That contract that happened where, because there was a contract, and Osei Meiji, one of the holy Odu Ifas, they said that the Iyami, the witch, made a contract with the white male to subjugate the black male and his prodigy because of what he had did to the black woman by, taking her off her seat, right? So I've already written that etiquette book for young women. As I said, it's only for the Girls Society. My children were raised up on that. And we live by that code. And I also teach it in Drop Squad Kitchen. I was just answering that question. But
Brother Hank had a question up there about when you're going to write a etiquette book for sisters.
Yeah, I just answered. I wrote that book. It's for the Girls Society.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm working right now. Like, I'm really working with my ancestral guides and guardians on, do I publish or do I not publish? I'm so glad that I first published this book called Unapologetically Healthy, and then I pulled it. I got so much support in like 2013. Had I published that book, then everybody would have had my recipes for Drop Squad Kitchen. I'm so glad. That's my children's legacy. That is something that I can leave them, right? So if people want those recipes, guess what you can do? You can pay me $150,000 US, and you can get that, because you will be able to run your own Drop Squad Kitchen, and then you could be paying me like 10% every year after, you know what I mean? Of proceeds. That's how I look at it. That's how I feel like our people should be rolling right now. Otherwise, I'm always posting stuff for free on the Unapologetically Healthy page. Every time I post, I made some vegan tuna the other day. I used some tuna. I'm not tuna. I used some pumpkin seeds. I used some celery. I blended it up. Then I took some sea moss and I took some nori roll and put some celery and some onion and some cucumbers and agave to make it taste like relish. And now I got some vegan tuna. I'm always doing that. That's on my at Unapologetically Healthy page on Facebook and on Instagram. So I give so much free stuff away. But my real publishing is for the community, because I want us to value it, and those things can be turned into textbooks later. Does that make sense? For the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, good. No more questions, anyone? Any more questions or comments? Here we go. Vic 2281. Question: what would you say is the best way for one to prove, I think you said family, if a child is from a single parent household? You understand that?
Yeah, the same way I did. I didn't get married until I was 48. I had my first child when I was 20. That means I was, for 2 decades, a single parent. But I have proof that I have a good relationship with my brothers. And they could just write a statement that says, this person is a good mother, I such and such. Do you have any guy friends? Do you have anybody in the community that can prove to me that you value and respect men, and that you value fathers and things like that, and that you do understand that we love for men to be involved in our program? Yes, this is a society that is private for girls, but as a part of the village, When we see initiations, the whole village shows up. Where are the men that's going to show up for these young girls? We want these young girls to see that there's somebody that loves and respects their mother and can be a guide and a guardian for her, because that's what we need right now. I'm saying that as somebody who was molested, and my mother stayed with that person until he died 2 years ago. A lot of y'all don't know my story, but this is why I have wisdom and experience. I'm not just talking it. And it has been very hard. I have a great, loving, and evolving relationship with my mother, and a daughter who's 29 that is about to have a child, and a daughter who's 22. And we have gone through it. And so my rites of passage is based off of my life experience and what I taught my children. And it's Girl Society is based off of my life experience again. So, because I can only go off of my experience. I'm not teaching out of no Queen Afua, sacred, woman, and heal thyself and somebody else's stuff. All those that they were guides, I'm teaching based off of what worked for me, and how my first grandbaby is not coming through until somebody is 29 years old and with the same only person she's ever been with. To me, I'm wealthy. I'm wealthy back in the day from my ancestors. I'm wealthy right now. I stopped that cycle. Ain't nobody got pregnant at 15, 18, 19. You understand what I'm saying? I have a blueprint. I have the receipts. I don't have to say, oh, my food is the best. Delaware, USA Today, and the PETA organization said Drop Squad Kitchen is the best vegan soul food in the United States. I don't have to say it. They said it. I have proof. Relationship with my mother. I have a good marriage. I have great relationships with my daughters. They're not perfect. No, I'm not perfect in any way. But the things that I write about, they work. In the society, in the world that's around me knows it.
Excellent. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? We've been rocking with questions for about 40 minutes. This has been good.
I love questions.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
Because make me see, do I really know what I'm talking about?
Type the questions then.
I think there was one that I missed.
You missed? See if you can find it.
Okay.
Comments, questions. What's on your mind? Type what's on your mind.
Oh, the etiquette book.
What insights do you want from Abundance Child?
How can one? I did talk about the poverty spell.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah. This is Hank has a question up here. What's the best herbs and food to help prevent heart attacks? This is from Hank.
Red things. No, I'm just kidding. I said red things like your hibiscus, your ginger, your like hibiscus teas, anything that will help like with your circulation, to keep your blood flowing freely, your gingers, hawthorn berry. I'm trying to think of stuff that we have in the house that we actually use. Cayenne pepper, again, I told you these red things. Turmeric. Yeah, I'm trying to go with food. Turmeric, your curries, people like holy basil. What else? Oat straw, nettle. That's something that we drink all the time. One of my favorite things is nettle. I love nettle. You can find that out. It's indigenous in the world. I love making nettle green tea with fresh lime, ginger, and mint leaves, real mint leaves, as a regular thing. We love hibiscus, ginger, lime, and clove tea. Cloves are amazing. Cloves, another thing. I love burdock root. First of all, if you're having heart health issues, that's also connected to your relationship that you're having with the Most High, because that's the first organ that was created, and that's where Allah exists. Do you understand? So that is what is pumping out blood. So in creation, Obatala came down a chain, which is Ogun, which deals with our DNA. So that's an ancestral issue, your heart. It's an ancestral issue as it ties to your DNA and why you are here in your contract. You got to get your contract right. So start doing things that are flushing. Start doing things that will help like thin out your blood. What else? Motherwort is another thing, because motherwort is something that helps the heart palpitations. Use motherwort. We use nervine. Nervines are certain things that, like, if you're into this, if you're into mushrooms and stuff, like ashwagandha and chaga root, we drink that almost every night. Okay, we love that kind of stuff. We mix it with burdock root,
I've
and
had that ashwagandha and all that. Yeah, I had that. Mhm.
like what I'm drinking right now to calm me down because I get nervous, with some ashwagandha chaga, some burdock dandelion, and chicory. It tastes like coffee. Put it with some oat milk and some like agave. You can't tell me I'm not, like I didn't get this from Starbucks or something, which I didn't, because they use human aborted baby fetuses and all their stuff. So doesn't Pepsi. You know what I mean? That's why we got to stay away from these colonist stuff. I'm also a big fan of garlic. A lot of people say don't use garlic, but I am heavy garlic on my foods. I'm heavy turmeric on my foods, heavy ginger. And these are all the things. And I'm only saying this because my husband was diagnosed in November with a cancer that had to deal with the blood. And within 30 days, he was out of that hospital. And within 45 days, he was cancer free. And all he did was the stuff that I'm telling you about. So I was trying to think of stuff that I have in my house that I would use. I would tell you. And I would say stay away from processed oils. So do your cold pressed coconut oils, your extra virgin olive oil that is cold pressed, grapeseed oil if you're gonna fry, because we know we love fried stuff. Monk fruit sweetener, coconut sweeteners. Don't be doing a lot of agave. Like agave to me is like white sugar. It has the same amount of fructose in it as high fructose corn syrup, and that's a fact. You can look it up. Maple syrups. Don't use stevia. That's bad for, men especially. I love coconut sugar. These are all the things, like I said, that you can help out. Just stay away from the fried foods. Hydrate your body more often by adding more fresh fruit and vegetables. And if you're going to eat meat, eat things like bison and wild caught salmon.
King Simon in the house.
My thing's going to die.
King Simon in the house. Peace, brother. Peace.
I didn't want my thing to die.
He said,
Oh, yeah, you talk good.
What about what?
How about monk fruit? King Simon is asking.
That's one of the, we have it, go get it. We have it right now. That's what we use.
Yeah, she's going. All right, good. Good question, King Simon.
I personally like using monk fruit because it's something that translates well in baking, and it translates well in our old mama recipes where they used white sugar. I use that in my candy yams. People love my earth candied yams. And I'm literally sweetening it with mangoes. Here I am giving away free stuff. Mangoes and pineapples and monk fruit. And it looks just like white sugar. You don't have to get it, John. I know they believe me. He was really going to go get it for y'all. And that's,
right. Blue Spade Media, this is too powerful. Sending this video material to the sisters around here. Thank you. Absolutely, Blue Spade. Absolutely. Send it out, y'all. Send it out. All right.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, they go ashwagandha, gada. Good for blood sugar. So that's the spelling. Ashwagandha. Ashwagandha.
More of a nervine. Oh, I didn't mean to. I apologize for saying blue spade. It's just I was trying to type too fast. So just so they know, I didn't mean to. What was the question?
Well, we got here for Doc. Put that back. Book Simon back up. Hank. Oh, I didn't. Here's the question. All right, here we goes. Blood circulation is ashwagandha good for blood circulation?
No, I mean indirectly, it's going to target certain things that support circulation, but like I said, it's a nervine. It's more to keep you calm and things like that, and working with your nervous system. It's not. It's not gonna. Oh, this was the monk fruit. Doesn't it look like regular sugar?
That's a clear bag. Let me put it back up on the screen. You gonna open it up?
From Sprouts, so this is
All right,
what it
all right.
did. I didn't get to transfer it yet.
All right, I see. All right, this. Are you gonna show? All right, good. Oh, all right, good. That's even better. All right, great. Yep.
Thank you, John.
So we have a King Simon writes, Dr. Africa introduced me to monk fruit.
So when you're thinking of like ashwagandha and chaga root, they're basically reducing the cortisol for people who are into stuff like that. Stress. That's why I said use it more like as a nervine. It'll help you with your hormonal balance. It helps you with for people who are going through so-called menopause. If you're going through menopause, you need to change your diet. You need to switch up now. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but you got to just take time with it. Like I'm coming to that age where I never like had a heavy cycle anyway, because I've been plant-based since I was 18 years old. But I know that my body's going through a change, and I realize I'm like, wait a minute, I'm putting on a weight that I didn't have. So now I'm adding things like ashwagandha to my diet. I cannot not work out. Where I had got in a car accident, so I wasn't able to do things. I'm a heavy martial artist. I haven't been able to train. It's different than if I wasn't training when I was 20. Like my body looked the same, you know what I mean? But at this age, it's like, no, you got to at least get up and walk, abundance, those types of things. So, but you can use it to help you in for circulation support, but don't think of it as something that's going to help you. If you have heart disease and stuff like that, that's not what it's for.
Now we got Brother Hank. What teas are good for helping with diabetes?
I always gave my mom like sea moss, and I gave her what's that stuff that's Sister Nadra? I don't know, soursop leaves.
Soursop, you said?
Yeah, soursop, sea moss. I love, what's really cheap that you can get is just get like the cinnamon sticks and make a tea out of that. Sometimes you can add like a little bay leaf to that. Good bay leaf, not like the bay leaf that you get in the seasoning in the store. Bitter melon, mango leaf. So mango leaf and bitter melon are also, I have all these herbs. I wish I could just pull them out and show you. Like, this is what I use to help people for personal chef. This one guy, he's from the islands. He just worked for me with 1 week. His blood sugar was just too high. And for 1 week, and he was like, I'm good. I got it. Because I really try to teach people. I'm like, anything that I'm doing, you can do. But another one of my favorites is hibiscus tea. Hibiscus is just another always keep in the house. Cinnamon, always keep in your house. Nettles, always keep in your house. Turmeric, always keep in your house. Holy basil is another one. And I'm saying holy basil because you can find these teas at Whole Foods, Wegmans, places like that. And your usual they usually put like holy basil and tulsi together. But these are some teas you could be drinking every day. But soursop, mango leaf, bitter melon, cinnamon bark. That's what I would suggest. But remember, people who have diabetes, it's mostly because of oil. People try to say it's about the sugar. Y'all done had too much fried chicken and the wrong kind of fats in your diet, which has changed up the way that sugar is being processed in your body, and it affects your pancreas. So, you can't just jump right into herbs and think it's going to do all the things like that. Like it's just gonna, like it took you maybe 15 years, 20 years to get diabetes. It's not gonna be like the herbs can just automatically come in and do a thing. You gotta have a whole change of mental state and working with your own ori, even before you work with other people to figure out how to change your diet. Like I said, I am my own student right now. I tried listening to all these menopause things and all this type of stuff, and I had to really just sit with my spirit. And I said, what kind of woman and what is changing for me, right now at my age.
Hank writes, asked, what herbs help with relieving arthritis pain?
Well, arthritis is inflammation, so it's going to be some of the same stuff. Turmeric, ginger. Ginger is good to take baths with. Either you can. One of the things that I like, people are always talking about, boiling the stuff because it's a root. I like to juice it because it is so strong when you juice it. Then you can take the pulp and actually boil that, but juice it that way. You get it so strong and add that straight to your bath. Or you can use that and put it in some shea butter and put that where it hurts. But remember, that pain is a sign of the inflammation somewhere. Devil's claw. Come on, abundance. Nettle, again. And every time I go to the river out here in these indigenous areas, I always see nettle. When I moved to this house that I'm in now, nettle was in the front yard. Wherever you are, the environment always provides for you. Go out in your front yard and download one of those plant ID me apps or something like that, and don't pay for it. Just do the free stuff and just take pictures that are in your front yard and backyard. I guarantee you have all the herbs that will save you and need you. But cat's claw, ginger is something that you can apply. Epsom salt. Salts are really, really good. I recommend like Redmond salt, like a real good salt, or some Celtic salt, and making sure that you either drink that with that or gargle with that, and get rid of all the other salts in your diet and use those salts. They actually are going to help you. You know what I mean? They're actually going to help you. Another one for arthritis, this one lady was celery seed. Now, that's not something that I've worked with a lot, but just in my, I have a lot of books on herbs and stuff like that. Remember back in the day, castor oil packs, that helps.
Yes. Yeah.
Cayenne, infusing oil with cayenne. Oh my God, that really helped. I had sciatica for a minute because of the last car accident I was in with Minister Inky. That was such a spiritual car accident. It changed me for the rest of my life. Like, I had sciatica on both sides. And I went to this one brother who's my meditation instructor, actually, Dr. Boisel, and he gave me this crazy cayenne infused oil that I used to rub. That really, really helped. So again, you want your nettle, your cayenne, your ginger, things like that. And
you mentioned Minister Enki. He was on this platform on Moorish Monday, maybe I think November. Yes. So I tell you, she knows people, y'all. She knows King Simon, who's on. She knows him.
I told you he was my mentor. I'm like,
Yep, King Simon. Mm-hmm.
I said
Hank writes, herbs for menopause flashes.
The things that you wouldn't give a child when they're like, when a lady is in like my daughter right now, I wouldn't give her black cohosh. But for somebody who's going through menopause, I would give them that. Sage. These are things that you can burn. These are things that you can cook with, but these are things you can make teas out of. Red clover is great for anybody, reproductive system and things like that. Dong Quai is another one. I love, the reason why I say that is like, I love TCM, traditional Chinese medicines, because they deal with hot and cold, cooling and heating, which the way they explain it really makes me to understand. And so I apply my own philosophy when it comes to that. So Dong Kai and chaseberry and motherwort teas, and I know you don't like licorice root. I think when they tried to put my husband on steroids, I said, "Oh no, we're gonna give you licorice root," and I just think I licorice rooted us out in this house. Shatavari, yep, that's all I could think of, y'all. But you got to think about all these things you're talking about are the physical third dimension manifestation of these things. What about the spiritual and energetic manifestation of what a hot flash is, what arthritis is? This is why I say being in alignment with your destiny and knowing what your assignments are. How do you know what your assignments are? What are the things that hurt you the most? When you think about something that upsets you right now, where does it hurt in your body? What organ is it functioning? That's where you can find out later on. If you don't deal with it, it might crystallize and all of a sudden you have cancer, arthritis, hot flashes, or things like that. So menopause is the transition of blood to breath. Breathing. You're not able to have that cycle anymore where you are expelling a fluid or some type of blood. So where is it going? But you still have the same cycle. You still have a cycle, and men have a cycle. So I've even learned this. I do a lot of my husband's classes, JC Alignment. It's a lot of breath work and really contracting and expanding that womb area, circulating that blood down there, because you're not going to be able to have that flow, that power, that blossoming, and all that type of stuff. Is like it's change where you're not going to be able to continue to have children. So you got to be able to use that breath of life and that ashe from that gut, which is your mind. Your gut is the house of where your physical mind really exists from heaven. It's where your perfect self in heaven or the beyond sits and is accountable for all the actions that you have on this earth. Your Ipan Re, your higher self. Because it's duality. You got a part of you that's navigating your physical experience. It's not like we just got here and we're not attached. You know what I mean? We're still attached. So for women who are going through that cycle, that's when you're actually menopause. You're actually tapping in to your higher self. That's when you are the most powerful. I fear for any young girl who's like FUB to some older woman. Okay, you ain't really trying to live, and you're really trying to mess up your bloodline. You know what I mean? Because you don't know the kind of power that woman is harnessing right there. So it's really about being able to balance your blood flow to the breath, the whole transition of that. Got to learn how to deal with hold your power. So other things that women can do is, a lot of women walking around with fans. Cool your body off by having cooling foods. This is the time when I know you've been eating your macaroni, cheese, greens, and candy yams. And where is the coolness? Where's the hibiscus tea to go with that? Where is the sloths? Enact all those ancestral things to have the cool things that go with your food. Start taking cooler baths with some fresh ginger and using the salt and using your intentions and say, I do this one, Ayo Yogo Mogomo cast Ifa for a Rumila, who will bathe his body in salt in the market while another untied at home. While all the hostile strongholds on Awo, Tamiko Marie McIntyre, Omo, Maxine Johnson be untied. Every single thing in this life has memory and has a destiny and has a purpose and was initiated into whatever it was supposed to do, including us. We just don't remember. That's just the rule. So go and find out what it is by using it. Using the things.
We have a question here. Does the Girl Society share Ifa teachings, or is it primarily female development?
It's primarily female development by teaching Ifa, cosmology, without necessarily saying the words. Can you get me one of my game books? But without necessarily even using any of Ifa jargon or Yoruba, because guess what? I know that when I got my first Ifa reading, he said, "You are not Yoruba." Like I was told straight up in the roots reading, like, you are not Yoruba. Game books. I know I moved a lot of stuff around. Right behind me, underneath the Moorish flag. That's so funny. The green one, I think, is my So we have game books. Can I have the other one? Everybody gets game books. And yeah, this is part of, they can come like this. We made these things, godly ability to master everything. Oh, isn't this funny? Look at this. Things that we teach, our authority, you know, because that's where where do you think I learned all this stuff from? You know? Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. So, for example, let's look at, oh, wow, it's just so much. So I put all my teachings in one book, right? But it is really important that we write because everything is a manifestation. So, for example, this is my godly ability to master everything. These are our lesson plans and life plans, Book of Abundance, Order Mother Earth. So in here, you know, I wrote my ideal organization for women. I have volumes of these, all right? So this is my newest one, the Book of the Law, the Mothership. This is like when I first started doing the Mommy Sundays. Everybody was signing up for facials, yoni steams, things like that. You know, I kind of just started using it. Oh, shoot. This is my last one, the Mommy. This is our workbook. When I say I write my own curriculum and stuff, this is the Mommy game book. This is the last Sunday that we did. Here's our agenda that everybody got. This is the Mommy mandate. This is my lecture. This is the game work assignments. And if you go to abundancechild.com, I have a whole Reddit on my whole philosophy on E5, but it doesn't say nothing about E5. So instead of saying Ori, I say Governance Ordinance Department. That's because I used to watch Queen Viola Howard. Again, she was another person I was inspired by her delivery and her knowledge of so many different things and how she was able to deliver on one subject, but tap into like so many different things. So I was like, man, I wanted to be like her. I wanted to be like you, like how you were teaching. And so I took all of that and I created the Abundance Child brand. But this, I'm really showing you the proof. So this is the facilitator's manual. It's the agenda, but you can see all my notes are in here. So that when I'm teaching, when I do the icebreaker, color-coded reflections for sacred pairing, the red, like I had everybody draw out, we had these types of things. And here was a question. What have you remembered that others have forgotten? How do you trust that knowing? So anybody else who got the purple, I was paired up with them and we answered our questions together. And the purple represented knowing and memory. What do you just know, even without evidence or explanation? What have you remembered that others have forgotten? And how do you trust that knowing? Everybody had different colors, but when you came in, you were sage down. My husband gave you flowers. He's like, listen, today's menu, we got gumbo, fresh pressed juice, some cornbread. Help yourself. You know, take one of these things. They found out whoever had the same color, they had to partner up with them. We went outside in nature and talked about it and cried and hugged each other. We washed each other's feet with flowers. You know, in the game book, it tells you we use black flower remedies. And I know I'm talking like a mile a minute. Everybody got these Ori interview and individual sheets that you have to fill out. But in the inventory sheet, these are for the facilitators. It tells you that if the person said, I often feel overwhelmed or scattered, what herbs that we need to be using for that lady today, or what black flower remedy. So we would use elm. And I wrote affirmations out. I remember that I'm not alone in my work. I release the burden to be everything for everyone. If somebody said, I feel disconnected from my feminine wisdom, she needs clematis, that flower. And the prayer would be, I embrace my fullness of my presence. My intensity is in divine order. So everybody gets this work, and then we have a closing ritual and homework that they take home. And they have to do all these assignments so that when you come back next Sunday, we shouldn't still be having the same conversations. Did you do your homework? Did you do your assignment? You know, all of those assignments include all of the stuff we're talking about. They have blueprints in there, like from my daughter's about to have a child. So what needs to be on the birth record? Well, let's look at, I did the birth certificate workbook a long time. It's on issue, it's on script. I left that out there for the people, but it has highly been updated because it's been 15 years since I wrote that book and published it for the people. So we use that. I even have templates in there. I don't want my baby to get vaccinated. Okay, neither of my children have been vaccinated. They're 29 and 22, never been vaccinated. I have all this stuff, but you just got to be a part of our society to get it because it's ours. And we're not going to just allow our stuff, because that's what our ancestors did. We gave away too much stuff and look where we are now. We got to be able to have our societies and keep it.
Hank Wright has a question. What's Yoruba's philosophy on Western feminism?
I can't speak on that. I don't think that I can speak on that because, again, I'm not Yoruba. However, I roll with a lot of people whose nationality is Yoruba, and I do practice Isheshe, but I practice Isheshe in my own Ori's way. But as far as I know, no, they're not down with Western version of feminism at all. And I know because I actually married a Nigerian man in 2021. Like, that is not looked upon with respect, not even in their Western colonialized churches. It is very important for women and men to be married and have two-parent households in that society from an early age. Like, if you're 23, 25, they're looking at you like, what is the problem? We need to get you married. We need to have our legacy continue. Even if they are not into Ifa, people have names that mean something. They have many names, but they only have a first name, middle name, and last name that goes on the record. But they might have 15 names because everybody gave them a name. I even got Ade something. One of my godparents for my daughter already gave him a name, meaning like the child that brings crowns full of joy or something like that. They have a different kind of respect. Now, it's still a patriarchal version to me, but it's way more matriarchal than how brothers treat sisters over here as African American, what people call African American. The women they revere them a lot more in a different way than I would say that the people who are misnomered African American are revered. But I see a very low tolerance for women like myself, who I think they would think would be a feminist, even though I'm not. I'm just not. But I am louder and I am very vocal and outspoken. And I saw that was too much for the person that I married at the time. And even though like I said, I'm cool with everybody that I even ever dated. We're cool now. He was just like, yeah. He was also 13 years younger. He just wasn't ready for that. He actually told my husband the other day that he's still growing, because he was like, so you don't control? And my husband was like, what? Control what? Like, if I'm really into her spiritual development and upliftment, how would I control her? She's a child of God, just like I am. And if anything, and I can let him speak for himself on these types of things, I probably should interview with you about this. He just really, I've never met anybody like him in real life that actually practices what they preach in a relationship. Because I know I am abundance. I am queen of too much. And he'd be like, oh man, says, please express yourself. It's inspiring me. And he's fueled by that, And also he's the 12th of 16 children. So he had a mama who he said, I can't never touch his mama when it comes to self-expression. So, they frown on the European version of feminism because it doesn't keep our families together. It doesn't hold the same mores, values, and ethics that they have traditionally had over many years. And I understand that from the spiritual cosmology, but what I've seen and personally experienced, which I try to say, I only can talk about what I've experienced. He wasn't even for the abundance version of what people would call feminism. And me saying that I'd say return to the matriarch, to me, is not feminism. It's just perceived as that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent point. Excellent. Excellent point. Well, this has been a doozy.
I always said
Man,
that was a negative thing, a doozy.
you know what? I have to look up the etymology of doozy then.
Yes, I'm like, please, because I'm like,
Well, this has been wonderful, exuberant.
this has been like really a dream come true. The power of manifestation. I remember saying that. I remember saying, how come you and Taj never asked me to do nothing with y'all? Because I used to go up to
Uh-huh.
see y'all in Philly. And I always wondered why I never got invited to the table. And I just thought because maybe I wasn't as smart as you, or maybe because I didn't have my language right. No, I'm serious. And I said, one day this brother's going to ask me to do something with them. I remember saying that because I used to wonder why. And then one day Hakeem invited me to do some, Hakeem Bey invited me because I used to be like,
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
I always wondered why Sabir had me on. He was one of the first people that interviewed me. That was just like, like we were, how you gonna be arguing on somebody's platform? That's what I said. I have definitely evolved. I've definitely learned how to use my fire to bake and not just decimate. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely calmed down in the past 15 years. You
Awesome.
know what I mean? This has been a dream come true because I used to be like, how come Abdullah? They called you Dooley. How come Abdullah? They never. I'm in Delaware. How come they're not asking me to come up to the stage? I was like, yeah, he's too deep for me. Like I couldn't even roll with that. With the information, I learned so much today. I'm taking notes. Like you stay teaching.
Man. Hey, I want to thank your husband for the support, for supporting you in your space.
That's right.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for supporting Abundance Child in the space, brother. Greatly appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you, Minaj Rael.
Viserious. This is about Viserious. All right, Viserious will be on the Monday, the 23rd, July 23rd.
I'll be watching.
No, June 23rd. Apology. Viserious will be with us in 2 weeks. He will be doing the book review on my book, How Her Venus and Moon Rule. I have Dr. Powerton, a Shriner and a Master Mason. He will be on next week doing a book review. So I will be interviewing him. We'll do a PowerPoint presentation on my book, The Masonic Compass Square and the Connection to Measurement and Timekeeping. That is the topic. Next week, the book review on my book, Masonic Compass Square and the Connection to Timekeeping and Measurement. And 2 weeks from now, we have, what you see here, this is Brother Viserious, a book review on my book, How Moon and Venus Rule. All right. So I'm very honored. I'm very honored, to have both these brothers to do a book review on my books. And I'm very honored. In fact, Dr. Powerton, I had written a book review on both of the books, Masonic Compass Square and the Venus book, and he posted it on the Facebook, and I actually share it. In fact, I'll share it later on tonight. When we get done, I'll reshare it to my page, Dr. Powerton's book review on How a Venus and Moon Rule in the Masonic Compass Square and the Connection to Measurement Timekeeping. I am very honored. Thank you to also. So I'm excited next week for having Dr. Powerton, Abundance Child. Israel has been on one of my brothers who actually support me. Israel and I are writing a book together. We're writing the book together. The United States Constitution as the continuation of European conquest and colonization of colonization of Moorish land and the subjugation of the Moors. This is not our Constitution. So the United States Constitution is not the Moorish Constitution. I know I taught that for 25, 26, 27 years. Yes, I did. You go to pass. All right. But I've grown up, y'all. I've grown up. All right. So
yeah, that's beautiful. I love the evolvement. And that I just love that because some of us are afraid to say, like, hey, I don't, it's not the same. I've evolved. I've learned something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to be open to doing that. We have to. So that's opposed to, because I didn't want to just put my feet in the stands and stand on a misconception that doesn't propel our people forward. I'm not doing that.
Salute and honors to you. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I was thinking about this. I was excited all day. Just so thank you, sister. You know, it's been an honor to have you on my platform. Brother Hank, I want to thank you again, brother, for this space for the past year and a half now. And looking forward. I'll have Brother Cosmo Ill will be back on
Okay.
July Grand Sheik, National Grand Sheik Cosmo will be back on with us in July, on July 14th, Monday, July 14th. And we'll have our students, we'll have some more students of the contract, trust and contractual legal safeguard course. We had 5 students on last week of our course. King L. Bay is the teacher. This is the trust and contractual legal safeguards. So I'll be bringing them back, other students back on Monday, July 7th. Yeah, what's that?
Where is that class at? I've been looking for that.
Oh, it's we've already started. It's actually a paid course. It's on Zoom. We have Zoom, and we've already gone to. We have 5 classes already. We have 7 more to go.
Oh,
So
wow.
with the recording will be available for sale.
Okay, good. I want to take that because I too want to make sure. Like I said, I got a gram. I just want to make sure I'm up to point because a lot of people keep asking me about that information. I'm like, I did my stuff 15 years ago. You know.
Well, we might like I said, we'll have our 6th class this Saturday. So you would have to get caught up on the recording.
The recordings.
Wait for the recordings. All right. Wait for the recordings. That recording will be available after the course is over. Yeah.
Give thanks.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be so. Yeah. We'll have. Well, we actually our website is under construction, so we'll go to the website to purchase the recording. Yeah. So that's under construction. So yes.
This is proof that thinking is seeking you. You know what I mean? Like just be patient. I'm trying to tell you because it's easy to be on Instagram right now or Facebook and everybody's selling some packages. But there's certain people that have been around since before I've been around, including you, that I really want to see. I still want to learn from other people. I want to see how I can apply what I know and what I don't know. You know?
Yeah, the trust class will definitely help you. You definitely need this trust class, Abundance.
Yeah.
Yes, this trust. Brother King is very good, very thorough, very knowledgeable. I'm learning. I mean, I'm learning so much, and more than what I actually thought. Like I said, we have. I'll send you I think I sent that to you. I'll send you the testimonies that we had last week on this platform.
All right.
I'll send that to you. We had the 5 students actually gave the testimonies throughout for the first 4 classes.
So I still do trust work. Now, trust me, I've been doing it. I've helped people. I even sent the brother King Simon had on his show the other day. I sent him my whole template for how I did my stuff. But my thing is, do you know that I really have been like self-taught when it comes to like trust work and stuff like that. So I've never actually taken anybody's classes. I have literally done all my own research. And as you know, because I demonstrated on my own with my children.
I highly recommend you take this course. This is not only does he teach in constructing a trust, but how to manage it. He puts heavy emphasis and focus on how to manage the trust. So so I highly recommend this course to everyone who's listening. The course will be available. The recording will be available in I think 3 months because we got 7 more classes. All right, we have 7 more classes. We won't have class on June 21st. June 21st is the Nationality, Human Rights and Nationality Conference in New York at the Heritage Brownsville Heritage House and Brooklyn, New York. And so that'll be on the 21st, Saturday, the 21st, June 21st from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. And we're looking to have that broadcast live. All right, so thank you, everyone. Once again, I will have Dr. Powerton next week doing a book review on my book, How Be Masada Company Square and the Connection to Timekeeping and Measurement. Brother Viceris, you see here, Brother Viceris Ill will be 2 weeks from now doing a book review on my book, How Venus and Moon Rule. Go to my website for those books, my other books, go to mooresandmasonry.org. Sister Abundance Child closes out.
First, let's give thanks and praises to the Most High, the Creator, to all of the energies and forces seen and unseen that have been working to shape this universe and all the other universes, to our own ancestors and to our mothers and fathers that birthed us to this existence. Give thanks and praises for you, Brother Abdullah Al-Tab Lib Mosi Bey, to your ancestors, to your family, to your lineage. May your works continue to be blessed, not blessed, where your words continue to, prosper, and may the words be spread so that we can do the work of our ancestors and be free and get back our rightful seat in this realm. I thank you. It's been a pleasure to know you. This has been an honor. And just please share your show. Like share, Brother thank you. Brother Hank, thank you. Yeah, I really don't, it's crazy. I'm like stumbling, you know what I mean? I'm nervous, but at the same time, I'm just really overjoyed. So I just want to say thank you. And I really wish you all the best. Like, I really want to see you prosper and succeed. I want to see my baby succeed. I don't want to have to keep doing this. I would like to see these things happen the way we go to colleges and stuff like that. I want to see this happening on that type of level, because we were the ones who started it anyway. We were the first ones that had the colleges and the universities. So I would like to be able to get off these platforms and really see them as, this is what we're doing in our own university setting. That is what I hope for you. That is what I hope for your work. That's what I hope for us as a whole family, as an ethnic group. I would like to see it in this lifetime. And I think with people like us, we keep going, it will happen. And as I said in the chat, I am speaking that prophecy over my bloodline. And for all those who are listening, may you receive the ashe of the words that I'm saying today, that everybody that's in this chat, everybody that shares this, will have the blessings of the ashe of my tongue, which is very, very powerful. Whatever I say happens. So in this lifetime, I will see you in 20 years. I'll be like, look, we did it. Just remember this interview. I said it will happen, and it will. We just got to keep going, have patience, and have character, because that's the only thing that's going to save us at the end of the day.
Peace, everyone. Thank you, brother. Thank you, sister. Peace.